well, hope you can hear me. I had a little accident with the camera after the last video that I shot. Oops, it fell off the tripod and something happened to the lens, so the camera stopped being able to read it, which is a bit annoying, especially as I have just done a video on photography and on the advice of some people who had invested in some extra bits to go on that particular lens. So I'm using a different lens, but it means that I have to sit quite a long way away from the camera in order for it to get me in the screen and in focus. I also have to have it quite far away from the magazines that we're going to be looking at in just a moment. So it's not ideal, but I hope it will work. It's making some kind of strange ticking noise. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I hope that, given that I'm far away and the lens is ticking, I hope that you can hear me right. I hope the sound is okay. If not, I shall put some quiet music over this in the hope that it will make the video a bit more watchable, or maybe turn the sound off and put the subtitles on. Anyway, I hope it's watchable. If you are new to the channel, this kind of rambling, unprofessional is what I do. So that's just me trying to be relaxed and not worry too much, not to stress too much about this. But thank you for joining us, and I hope you will find this interesting. We've had some new subscribers after I was really professional last time and asked people to subscribe and like the video and comment and hit the notifications button. So I'm going to do that again. Here's a moment of professionalism. Please like this video. Please comment on this video. Please hit the subscribe button. And please hit the notifications button to be notified when I've got a new video up, which will hopefully be a bit more often than that have been over the last few months. And that will really help the channel, and it will help you know when there's another video, and it will help motivate me to get my arse in gear and actually put some more video content out there. So thank you, please do that. If you are just joining us for the first time, really nice to see you. Glad you got here. There are loads and loads and loads and loads of videos now in the back catalogue, so go and have a look back. And at the end of this video, a little box will appear up. I think it will be here or it will be here. I haven't quite worked out which direction to point in. But it'll be one side or the other. One side will say subscribe, the other side will give a link to the other videos in this series. So if you want to have a look at some more classic White Dwarf issues is what we're looking at, some more classic White Dwarf issues, then just hit that button and it will take you to the playlist with all of the other ones that we have done. This month we are looking at November 1984, issue number 59, and we are looking at November 1994, issue 179. And I know that we are looking at not, this isn't 10-year concurrent. I mean, really, we should be looking at November 1982 and November 1992, right? Because then it would be 1982, 92, we could do 2002, 2012, let's not do 2012, 2022. Wow, that's a long period of time, isn't it? But we're only going to do two because they take fair enough amount of time to go through in any case, and you don't want to sit and listen to me ramble on for any longer than you have to. So we're going to do two, and the reason that we're not doing 1982 and 1992 is because my White Dwarf collection starts in 1983, which is what we were doing last year, and I didn't want to wait 2 years for us to get to the point, because I would have forgotten by then that I was going to do it and run out of other things to do. So I'm afraid this is not, this is not 1980, 90, 2000, 2000. This is not a 40-year-old White Dwarf quite yet. It's only a 38-year-old White Dwarf. But I think that's old enough, right? That's old enough. Let's not dig any further into the ages. Without further ado, let us scroll back in time and take a look at the happier age that was November 1984. Okay, off we go then. November 1984, White Dwarf issue 59. Oh well, let's hover on the cover. Let's hover on the cover for a little while. Here's some giant monstrous creature being summoned, possibly, or attacked, or don't know what's going on here. Do you know what this is the artwork from? These were licensed covers after all for the magazine, so that artwork will be for something else. I'm just having a look at the cover. That's Paul Andrew Jones is the artist. Okay, then apparently it's American football season. And we have a new assistant editor. John Sutherland is taking over being the assistant editor of White Dwarf, and they're obviously taking on board some comments from the letters that we looked at in the last episode. And Fiend Factory is now being opened to creations from any system, from Call of Cthulhu to Golden Hero. So then more monsters for D&D. Playing straight into The Mad God's Omelette, a short story very much in the satirical vein, not at all parodying Michael Moorcock here with his hero Elric of Melniboné, of which we have been exploring quite a lot recently. Evidently big influence on the development of Games Workshop at the time, and you can see how much they loved it in how much of it got put into Warhammer Fantasy. But here, our hero, whose name is Erige, not Eric, Erige, and he has a mystical black artificial leg that is slightly out of his control, and it's fun. It's quite a madcap adventure, very much I feel in the vein of Harvard Lampoon kind of writing, but it's quite well done. It's quite compelling. It's possibly of a higher literary standard than Michael Moorcock. That would not be saying an awful lot. Ooh, blasphemy, I know. Right, here's the ninja character class for D&D. We've seen a ninja class for RuneQuest. Here it is for D&D, and more on that later. Religious cults for modern day adventures. Yes, okay. Various things that people could centre around in terms of faith and spirituality in the modern age. Read the 80s age, of course. Bit of a Karate Kid thing going on here. The Temple of Excellence is all about, refining your body to peak perfection, peak practice. And technodeology. This is not a forerunner of the Adeptus Mechanicus. This is just the idea that the forces running the universe are more technological. They have created the universe through more technological means rather than sort of mystical, magical, religious means. This is just saying science is all important here. The Church of Omphalogy seems to be kind of in the same vein, but this is very much looking at, I guess it's quite similar to our sort of post-truth era. This is looking at stuff that whether you can provide sufficient evidence for it or not, and a bit of a piss take on hippie kind up here. Buses in Car Wars, because every Car Wars player needs a London bus. I like these little things in White Dwarf though, because they're sort of silly things that you think, why on earth? But then, it's fun. You put it in because it's fun, and people don't take it too seriously, and maybe you do want to drive a London bus around in Car Wars. Now there are rules for doing it. The Androx Diaries, this is one of those reader write-in things, not particularly wonderful fiction here, taking the form of a day in the life diary of a particular court official, but it's pretty tedious. I'll be honest, it's pretty tedious. The manufacture of magical items in AD&D. This idea that suddenly you're a level whatever wizard and now you can create all kinds of magical items. This is again trying to put some more flavour and a bit more progression into that idea that you aren't suddenly able to create all of these various magic items. You might need to have a few more skills, specialisms, etc. under your belt in order to be able to do that. 250k of pure mystery by Ian Livingston. Win £25,000, which is an awful lot of money, and save the world. Another play by mail. Oh no, it's not, is it? It's an early internet game. Did you ever play it? Did you ever find it? There's a picture here of a mountain and a triceratops, and a welder and a knight, and what looks like a Nazi temple. So clearly Ian Livingston stuck it all into this game. More adverts. Now we know how to play as ninjas in AD&D and RuneQuest. Let's have a ninja scenario. So here's a scenario where a bunch of ninjas have to obtain some information by nefarious means, infiltrating a site and trying to overhear the diplomacy that's going on. So that looks like that could be quite fun to run. Thread the Barbarian here has got some alien life form to engage with. The aliens, of course, coming to the conclusion at the end that there is no intelligent life on the planet, not worth invading. I suspect aliens may come to the same conclusion were they to drop in today. Here we are on the road now. This is an interesting one. This is an adventure to run between two other adventures, instead of just saying, oh, your journey is uneventful and takes X number of days, or rolling on the random encounter table in the wilderness when they're traveling. Now the players can hook up and travel with this caravan, and a number of things will pan out on their journey. It's quite interesting. It gives you a cast of characters which not only can you run through this adventure, but I guess it would give you some ideas for something else that might happen while you were doing it, and of course a series of events that happen so that you can you've got a chronology to work with. Here's an advert for Toon. It says needs no further description, does it? We all know what that means. Here's Tabletop Heroes talking about decent brushes. They were obviously not consulted when Games Workshop came to create their own range of brushes. And the pictured miniatures here, the Lone Wolf, Gaiac Attack and Lone Wolf here, some Tom Mayer troglodytes, the Lord of Balrogs. So they're obviously sticking with their theme of featuring Citadel miniatures. I guess that's, they're affiliated to Games Workshop. That's what they will have at their disposal. And of course, Games Workshop will go even further down that route in later years and only feature Games Workshop miniatures in total. But also, this is apparently a module available. Let me try and find out. The Integral Terrain Range from Games Innovation, 2-foot square scenic modules. This one, not particularly spectacular maybe. It looks like they've just painted an area of woodland and some fields on this one, but actually the ones down here, it looks like they've got some recesses, some crags and things. And maybe it's fairly early in the hobby for them to be selling not bespoke but sort of mass-produced 2-foot polystyrene tile terrains. And that sounds like quite a good idea. I would still maybe go with that today. It's better than the Citadel Realm of Battle stuff that is plastic and you can't do anything with. At least with the polystyrene ones, you can further carve it away and add bits to it and paint it as you will. The Travellers are doing another Star Wars spoof this time. Playing arena combat in D&D. Here's an idea for some Phantom characters. This is the Fiend Factory article. Some Phantom Rider characters, kind of based on the Wild Hunt, but a bit more what should we say? A bit more military, I guess, than the Wild Hunt. They're more otherworldly, and with the ability to raise the dead. They have the hounds of the Great Hunt are sort of zombies. The fresher the corpse, the more easily it is turned into a hound. So there's a thing that you could come across, I guess. Amazons, appearance of Amazons from the compendium, and of course Nick Lund's Chronicle Wolf Riders there as well. And the next in the series of the Lone Wolf series, which you can now play in miniature thanks to the Gaiac Attack miniatures and Lone Wolf there. There you go. Never really expanded that range very much, but it's a lovely range. I've been painting Gaiacs recently, very much enjoyed it. There you go. Okay, quick overview of an 80s White Dwarf. Now let's do the same for a 90s White Dwarf. And what have we on the cover here? Yes, it's the mighty Imperator Titan. The thing that I love about these images is the scale. I mean, they've got the steps here coming out of the foot with the troops swarming out of the arches there. This was the thing that really sort of sold me on Titans, was this scale of it, which is why I was a bit disappointed with the scale of Games Workshop Titans, because they weren't big enough, damn it. What's that? Games Workshop doing something that's not big enough? Yes, that's worrying, isn't it? But I don't know if they've ever tried to make even Forge World an Imperator Titan, but I love the fan-made ones that are just absolutely enormous. And I did try to make with Serial Box Card a 40k sized Imperator Titan when I was in my early teens, but it didn't get very far. Needless to say, I did not really have the space for an Imperator Titan, and I still don't to this scale. But here we are, all guns blazing, including his eye guns, and of course his tiny little groinal willy gun is blazing away. But yeah, it's tiny because he's clearly compensating with his massive great plasma gun up here. The Chaos All-Stars for Blood Bowl. Releases some plastic Chaos Warriors that were then sold with, I think everything came with a free plastic Chaos Warrior at some point. They must have produced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Right, clearly people have been playing 40k wrong, and Jervis has been inundated with letters telling him how broken the game is, and so here he looks at where people have been playing things wrong and how to deal with things, so like area effect weapons inside squads, and what you can and can't charge, and how 40k at this point has the rule that you have to shoot at the nearest thing, which of course ran over into Necromunda, the same era of 40k, and I guess it makes sense, you shoot at the thing that's nearest to you. I don't fancy this guy's chances with these bikes at this proximity to him, but basically saying, if you've got heavy weapons, they've still got to shoot at the nearest thing to them. So make yourself a little screen of inexpensive troops and stand in front. Yeah, so there's Jervis correcting some people's misconceptions. We are looking at building these classic 40k ruins here with their bits of pipework and stuff sticking out of them. Early use of plasticard and filler here, but an excellent modelling article nevertheless, and one that I'm sure many people will have imitated over the years. I certainly imitated a load of these White Dwarf scenery articles with inferior materials, because I didn't have a model shop or plasticard or foam core or anything like that, so it was all serial box card and polyfiller, and it all got very soggy and didn't look anything like as good as these ruins here. But I did give it a try, and it was fun, and that was what was important, right? Talisman and City of Adventure, some more supplements for Talisman. Of course, we had the other two in a previous edition, and some more characters. Now, what's interesting in this image, I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't really zoom in because it'll be out of focus. But if you find your copy, because I'm sure you all have a copy of White Dwarf 179, and I'm sure you can find a PDF somewhere online if you can't, and have a look at this image, because in the City of Adventure we've got the Dragon Slayer, the Chaos Dwarf, the Witch Elf, the Black Orc, the Halfling, and the Assassin are the characters that come with this set. And the Assassin is the Assassin that came with the box, and of course the wonderful Halfling miniature, and the standard Chaos Dwarf from the armies boxes, and Dragon Slayer, and the Black Orc from the regular Black Orc armies box. But then this Witch Elf appears to be, well, it's certainly not the one that came with the box, because that's a very classic one, the one that's based on the, oh, it looks like it's based on the cover of the 4th edition Dark Elves book. Maybe it's the other way around, but certainly isn't this one. This is a much earlier looking Witch Elf, and in fact looks like a metal Witch Elf that's been painted grey. So was the tooling not ready for that miniature at this point? This doesn't seem like the right Witch Elf. So what happened there? I don't know. Love these weird little inconsistencies in photography, finding strange things in the magazines. Then of course we're looking at some more Titans. Given the cover of the magazine, of course we're looking at Titans. Adrian Wood, who we will all know as a massive orc warlord here, trying to put together a legal army consisting entirely of fast-moving evil sons bikers, and his army choices and strategy guide. And then we've got a big Titan Titan battle here. And again, if you look at these forces, obviously there's a few things added in here, but the core of both of these forces are the models in the Epic box. So with a little bit of proxying, you could fight this battle with the models in the box, which again, you know, it's nice. They're designing it for people who are recent to the game and are not necessarily going to have access to all of the things. But also they're obviously trying to sell the models in the box. There is the box, look, halfway through the battle report, so you can see that you've got all of the things there to fight the battle. And I never had Titan Legions, I never had any of the Epic system really. I got Space Marine about a decade ago, just to try it out, and didn't really get on with it very much. But Titans were always more exciting, and I never had any Titans. But so I hadn't seen really, apart from looking in these articles, that at the other sides of the model, you see the advertised. You see the advertised there, sort of front 3/4 on, but then you're reliant on these kind of images to see that there's a lot going on out the back of a Mega Gargant. You know, you've got this big thing, sort of tractor unit here pushing it along. Lots of stuff going on up the back of it, which, yeah, you wouldn't see if you didn't have that model. Certainly wouldn't see from the box art. So that's fun, and it's also fun that they're using the cardboard box, the cardboard buildings from the box as well, alongside these nicely modelled scenic pieces here. Prince Imric, who of course, as I think we mentioned last time, is definitely not also Elric influenced. Definitely his name doesn't come from Elric, with a few letters changed. But hey, we all do that, right? All games writers do that. And then catalogue pages is mostly Epic. Lots of epic. Lots and lots of epic. Lots and lots of, oh, you get the picture. And some Blood Bowl. And some Gretchen. And the LR jet bikes, of course. Of course. In production for a very, 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 very long time. And some Chaos Demons and some Chaos Warriors, now all adopting the fairly bland horned helmet look that was to become the Chaos Vogue for the next 15-20 years. And on the back we've got this rather, I'm going to call it glorious. I'm going to say it's glorious. It's also slightly painful on the eye. Howling Griffin's paint scheme that was painted by Fred Reed from Games Workshop Bristol. There you are. Are you still painting? Are you in the hobby? Are you listening to this video? Have you got more pictures of your Howling Griffins? Have you still got your Howling Griffins? Probably none of the above, but it's an impressive looking army. And I do like that Games Workshop of this period are not only are they featuring the heavy metal paint jobs, of course, but they're featuring their store staff's armies on these back covers as well to increase the interest. Well, there you go. So that was a fairly quick rundown for this month after last month's saga of the 80s and the 90s White Dwarfs. I hope that was interesting. I hope that was fun. See you next week with another video. Take care.